It's Talk Funny, a podcast by Mark Bailey and other comics from all over. We ended up in Japan because we wanted to visit a country in which, unlike all other countries, people like food. Who knew? The Talk Funny podcast from NagoyaRadio.com and Nagoya Comedy. Here's Mark Bailey.
It's Mark Bailey. We're here with Steve Howard.
Hello.
And we're here on Talk Funny, of course. And I was just saying, it's interesting. We have our fans and former open micers. It's a small town, Nagoya, actually. So we run into these people, and we had a guy, he's a former open micer, nice guy, and he probably won't hear this, but he accosted me in the street, and he has this U.S. check that he can't cash because he's not from the U.S., not from Japan, and he was asking me, how can I do this? I gave him 8 different ways that you could do it, and he shot them all down and said, well, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. Okay, well, here's the one. Get a time machine, go back in time, and slap yourself every time you try to take a personal check. Don't take personal checks. Yeah. I don't take them from my dad, because I can't use them here. There's a thing called traveler's checks, cashier's checks. Yeah. Banks have cashiers, and they're pretty good at making cashier's checks. And I mentioned that to him, and he said, well, if I ask him to send me that next time, there's probably a fee on that. Yeah, banks probably charge a fee. Yeah, what's the point of getting up in the morning? And finally I said, look, this guy's from the Middle East. And I said, finally, I don't know what you've heard, but I actually don't control the banks. Jews don't control all banks, all right? I'm kind of offended that you'd even ask me that, but he's just he doesn't know what to do about it. Well, I think I know how you got this money, and I think you got screwed, actually. Twice, apparently. So you're just going to have to, like I said, you're going to have to swallow this. You're just going to have to sit on this one, You're just going to have to take it like take it like somebody. Take it like a they.
Take it hard.
You're just going to have to bite the bullet. I'm sorry, that blows. It really blows. But, maybe don't take personal checks. I don't take personal checks. There's a lot of different ways. Were you born yesterday? You're a grown man. Why do I have to solve your problems?
And Oscar Mayer has a first name.
But you're a grown man, and thanks for coming to the show. But if I was a genius at financing, and if I had an in-house operation where I could take these checks onto my business and convert them and make money on it, I wouldn't be doing stand-up in Nagoya, He said, yeah, can I endorse this to you? And I said, well, that screws up my taxes because that's American income. Yeah. And I'm just there's a reason I have 112 pads, these Android pads, because I take barter when I do comedy in the States. Barter in drinks and food and pads and transportation and lodging. Because I don't accept cash, because I would need a separate accountant, and they charge $800 an hour. I don't even know what this check was for. Yeah. But I said, I'll do it for $70,000 in cash. You just pay me cash, and I'll cash your stupid check.
I mean, PayPal,
I assume it was maybe $500, $700. That's what I assume. Yeah. That's what he charged me. So, no, the bottom line here, so this guy got it in an alternate economy on the underground. On the down low. Anyway, people come up, hey, I saw your show last week. By the way, I'm getting a divorce. Could you watch my kids for a week? Yeah, I'm just a comic. I play a human on stage. I'm not one in real life.
Did you hear my bit about family? You sure you want me to watch your kids?
And it's a funny thing, my kids are in Tokyo right now, and both of them, and I'll probably be doing some shows up there. They said, we'd like to come see your show. And I said, well, you've kind of lived the whole premise. I don't think it's nothing new. It's still Hater. It's still the bane of my existence. You're not going to really I talk about you, too, and how you're a lot like Prince, and how you probably should have killed yourself. So I said, these shows are not for you. They're not for the audience. They're just for me. Because every second I'm on stage, it's one more minute I'm not in a room by myself with a shotgun to my throat, But on a lighter note, yeah.
But lots of our audience members laugh, by the way.
Performing under the influence. So I have no experience in this. I'll just let you talk.
Yeah.
Hey, hang on a second. Let me take a swig.
Well, actually, in my case, generally, I literally will only drink like one rum and Coke because I do not like hangovers the next day. But there have been a couple of cases where when our shows, for whatever reason, we had to delay the start because not enough people were there yet or whatever.
Right.
And there was a couple of times when I ended up drinking 3 rum and cokes rather than my 1 rum and coke. And I think I was able to do all right. I wasn't up there slurring my words, but I noticed like the quick recall and staying focused and sort of staying on track was a lot harder for those shows.
And not that this would be possible, not that you've ever done this here at all, but if, for example, in a state in the States where it would have been legal to take a kind of mellow substance, does that have any effect on you in your experience?
Well, the one time, yeah, that actually, depending on the strain, because one kind of will actually make you sharper and focused, the other one is more of a sedative and kind of puts you to sleep. But I was lucky that it was the sativa, so I was actually more focused and more sharper.
What's the one that makes you paranoid? What's the
that would be,
it's called fake.
Yeah, yeah, that would be laced.
Mosquito repellent.
Yeah.
I've worked in the States. I worked with Logan. He got on one time he was on acid, and it was horrible for everyone. Yeah. And I'm the one that had to drive him to the venue, and I almost choked him to death because he was so annoying.
Yeah.
About every 2 seconds. But you don't understand, Mark. I'm on acid. I know. You told me this. Listen, focus, Logan. We're going on, but I'm not going on first. Yeah, what I just said, you're going on first. They want you to go on first. Well, I can't go on first because you don't understand. I'm on acid. I know. But you're going on first is what I'm trying to tell you is, what do you need me to do? Do you want me to, like, pull you off? Because I'm emceeing, but they want you on first. He said, well, if I have to go on first, I can't go on first. But if I do, but I can't. Because you don't understand. Everybody together now. I'm on acid. Okay, I got it. So he just got up and he just talked about, you people are not going to get me. I'm not even going to do my material. I'm not going to do my material because he got all paranoid. And he did this whole, and it wasn't funny at all. And he just said, you wouldn't even get me because you people don't understand I'm on acid. And so by the end of the thing, everyone is doing the chorus, are you on acid? It was just horrible. There was one on YouTube where a guy took acid, he dropped acid, and he went on.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I didn't find it amusing at all.
Yeah, he just had like one like very stock joke.
Kind of felt sorry for him, but I mean, yeah, maybe don't do that.
Yeah.
We had a guy who he may or may not have partaken of this in Japan, and we think it might have had mosquito repellent in it. It was supposed to make you mellow. It made him violent, and it made him reckless. And I think you were there. It happened on 2 or 3 occasions. I've never seen, this is one of the occasions where he almost asphyxiated me on stage. That's not what I associate with that drug, the mellowness. It actually reminds me more of cokeheads.
Right.
I think I mentioned this in the States before. In radio and in comedy, especially in radio, a lot of people I worked with, they were all my age and younger. They were all dead because they all did coke and they went to parties, and I was the boss, so I was not invited to these parties.
Yeah.
But this guy, he had all the symptoms of being a cokehead. He talked constantly, he talked during our sets, very aggressive and resentful, and just, let's go skiing, let's go water skiing, let's go skydiving. And I think we're both asking him, what did you check this out? What's in that?
Well, if it was mixed with synthetic, the K2 or spice, then it potentially had ketamine in it, which is very much has a stimulant effect.
The guy said, well, it came straight from Fukushima. I don't know what the problem is. It's the lettuce from Fukushima.
It's very green.
Okay, and then alcohol is the obvious one. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I sometimes will drink coffee a little bit because I just to kind of get me sort of up a little bit before I go on stage. And then the black gum, which supposedly has nicotine in it, sometimes I'll chew one of those because I listened to Joe Rogan, and he was saying something about how some comedians will smoke cigarettes or whatever because the nicotine, they feel like it keeps them focused. I'll chew that black gum a little bit, and I don't know, I feel like it sometimes keeps me a little sharper.
Well, this is kind of inside baseball trade secret, but even when I started in Osaka in Japan here doing comedy, I found just half of a cigar had enough caffeine, whatever, nicotine in it, just to, when I had the MC, just kept me up, it kept me alert, but it didn't affect my performance or memory or anything. It kind of helped. But also, I've heard one of my ex-girlfriend's, big hippie girlfriend, She liked leaves. She was kind of an agricultural girl, and she was very hot. Anyway, she drugged me to all, so to speak. She dragged me to a lot of REM shows, and I don't really like REM. I don't really like. They're boring to me. But apparently, if you're high, they're interesting. She would drag me to these shows, and the only thing that I could look forward to is she knew Pete Buck, who is the guitarist, and he's a very interesting guy. And I talked to him, and he said he suffered from anxiety all the time. And surprisingly, he didn't partake of that, but he said he would drink a 16-ounce beer very quickly, right before he went on. And it would just chill him. He would just chill, but he was alert, but he wasn't nervous. And he said he had chronic anxiety problems.
Wow.
And just drinking that very quickly before he went on helped him. But he said otherwise he never drank. And that's just kind of his thing. And so have you ever met any comics that drank at our shows?
No, never. It's just like like an Alcohol Anonymous meeting in our
So we've had open mic guys. Have been one guy who was too drunk. He insisted on coming up. He came on to the mic and fell asleep on stage. Then we had violent. I don't want to stereotype, but this is just my experience. There's a certain kind of British drunk that gets violent.
Yeah.
There's some kind of drunks that get pitiful and I love you, man, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then there's a certain strain, and they tend to be Brits, but I have probably 18 different stories. They get hostile. The story of all the comics we've had, one of them challenged me to a duel after 5 99-cent glasses of wine, so he's no longer with us. One of them tried to strangle me with a belt that was my belt on stage, part of my gig, and stormed the stage, almost asphyxiated me. Then at another show, he walked out on our host, told him F you, we were guests there, and then later he called me and said, how dare you say that you picked me for the show? And I said, well, I did book the show, and then I did book you, so I did pick you. Yeah, well, you don't have to say it. Well, it was a promo. It was trying to promote the show. And screw you, I don't need you. Next day, I love you, man. I don't really remember any of that. So alcohol is probably broken up a lot of comic groups, I think. And it almost broke us up a lot of times. We see the warning signs, and there's just certain things where you can't do a roast about a guy that you don't know, and then when the MC says, we're out of time, we got to catch our trains, and then you say STFU. If you book the shows, you could probably do that, but I'm booking the shows, so don't say that to me. I think alcohol is a big one because it helps loosen people up. It can get you fired, too, so... any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're going to be up performing, probably want to think about your intake before you get up behind the mic, because if you go too far, it's probably not going to help you very much.
It's always good when you're on stage. It's good to not have reached your limit and then get on stage because you're probably not that interesting anymore. But I would definitely recommend having water or something, not tea, not caffeine, but water or something on stage, because you can get dry throat immediately and people just think that you're nervous, and you're not nervous. You just need something to drink. And then I've noticed this other thing when I'm on stage. If you take a drink, some of the hecklers think, well, here's my chance. He's drinking. So I wanted to recommend maybe we all learn how to do what ventriloquists do and just do a joke while we're drinking the water. I know you think you can heckle now, but I'm drinking water right now. Hi, I'm one of Ted Kennedy's dates. Hi, I'm Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic. I told you not to let go. Rose. We'll be back with another edition of Talk Funny. Mark Bailey here with Steve Howard.